Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirg Nir
Nirvignam Kurume Deva.
Nirvignam Guru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha Suti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रीमेधा दक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्ट्वागुंसस्तनूभिः वशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। So namaste once again everyone.
Namaste Guruji.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Namo Namaha Mahoday.
Om Namaha. Hari Om.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. Namaste. So we will chant Yah Sarvajnah
Yah Sarvajnah
Sarvavidyasya
Sarvavidyasya
Jnanamayam Tapaha
Jnanamayam tapaha
Tasmat Etad
Tasmadevata
Brahmanama
Brahmanama
Rupamannam cha jayate.
Rupamannam jayate.
Very good. So we are discussing the last mantra of the Pratama Khanda of Pratama Mundaka. And in this section, the Upanishad introduced the topics of Paravidya and Aparavidya. I'm talking about the section, not this mantra. Both Aparavidya and Paravidya were introduced. Very general introduction. And in the last mantra, in this last mantra, Shruti is summing up what has been taught in this section. And after discussing the meanings of the words of the mantra, we entered the Bhashyam in the last class. And explaining the words of the mantras, Bhashyakara said, the word Sarvajnaha refers to the one who was referred to as Akshara Brahma and whose definition or whose features had been talked about in the earlier mantras. And he defined it as one who knows everything in general. That is, one who knows the essence of everything in the cosmos is Brahman alone. And that I too am Brahman alone. That is the most important aspect of the Paravidya. So this is Paravidya, the ultimate knowledge, the knowledge of the non-dual Brahman. Then he said, Sarvavit is one who knows everything in detail. So one who has got the knowledge of every living and every non-living being in the cosmos, in the form of countless names and forms, that person is a Sarvavid. That means what? That means the one who knows Apara Vidya completely is Sarvavid. So a Jiva can be a Sarvajna, knower of Paravidya, but not a Sarvavid, knower of complete Aparavidya, because the limitation of the Upadhi. And only Ishvara, who has got the Samashti Maya Upadhi, can be both Sarvajna and Sarvavid. Only Ishvara can have the complete knowledge of both Paravidya and Aparavidya. Then Bhashyakara explained the word tapaha, which also occurred in the previous mantra. He said that here the word tapas does not mean austerity or some extraordinary physical activity or a severe penance in the usual sense of the term, which involves physical effort and physical pain, etc. Here the word tapaha of Ishvara is only in the form of recollecting the knowledge of everything which is already there in potential form in Maya and which is getting resurfaced, which is getting manifested. And from that omniscient Ishvara who was talked about in the previous mantra, and also, of course, in this mantra, Brahma is born. And Bhashyakara clarified that here the word Brahma does not refer to Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, but to Hiranya Garbha, the firstborn. If you recall, the very first mantra, which starts with Om Brahma Devanam Pratamas Sambhabhuva. Pratamah Sambhabhuva. It is the same Brahmaji, firstborn, who is described here, who is Karya Brahma, a product of Karana Brahma, who is called Hiranya Garbha or Samashti Sukshma Prapancha. That Brahmaji is born. Then what happens was explained as from that firstborn Karya Brahma, this entire universe consisting of names, forms, and colors were born. And then Annam, food in the form of paddy, barley, etc., is born. And then Bhashyakara explains the order in which this creation takes place. He says, Purva Mantrokta Kramena, in the sequential order which was mentioned in the previous mantra. And what was that sequential order? Previous mantra said, Tataha Annam Abhijayate, Annat Pranaha, Manas Satyam, Lokaha Karmasu Chamritam. So in the previous mantra, the order or the sequence of creation was from Avyakritam or Maya, Karana Avastha A, which we actually labeled as Karana Avastha A, Annam, Karana Avastha B is born. Then from that Pranaha, Sukshma Prapancha A evolves. And from that Manaha, Sukshma Prapancha B is born. Then from that Satyam, the Stula Mahabhutas, the Stula Prapancha A evolves. And that from that Stula Mahabhutas, Lokaha, the 14 Lokas, 7 up and 7 down, they are born. Then the mantra said, Karmasu Chamritam Jayate. And living beings, once they come, especially human beings, when they come, karma will happen. There will be karma phalam. So that is the sequential order which was mentioned in the previous sloka. And Bhashyakara says that continuing that sequential order, Purva Mantrokta Kramena, this Nama Rupam Annam Cha Jayate. Food is born. So the way to understand is that the last stage of evolution mentioned in the previous mantra was Loka, 14 lokas. And after that lokas are born, then human beings, and human beings will have different names, and there will be animals, reptiles, insects, objects, both living and non-living beings. And they also will have all names, and they will have forms, they will have colors. So names and forms are born, and all animate and sentient animate or sentient beings, including human beings, they require food, and therefore food is born. So now, if we have followed the previous mantra and this mantra carefully, understood what is being said, there can be a question on the last part of the sequence. What is that question? Loka jayate, it was said. That was said, human beings was born. Then food was born. Now, and then karmas are born. Now, the question is, was karma born before food or after food? Why? Because eating food is also a karma, which has got a karma phalam. If you eat the right food, the karma phalam will be pleasant. And if you eat the wrong food, you know what the karma phalam will be. Therefore, food should have come before karma. And it seems to be a very valid point. So here, what again I will remind is, this is not the tatparyam of the Upanishad to exactly and accurately describe the creation. And therefore, for our understanding, we can insert Nama, Rupa, Annam Cha after Lokas and before Karmasu Chamritam in the previous Loka. So that there is no contradiction in the sequential order, or I can say there is no disturbance in the sequential order, especially from our logical thinking standpoint. And realizing that such a doubt may come, and that there is a potential contradiction in the sequential order between this mantra and the previous mantra, Bhashyakara says, Purva Mantrokta Kramena iti avirodaha drashtavyam. Avirodaha means non-contradiction. So non-contradiction between the order mentioned in this mantra and the previous mantra should be seen by making some small changes in the order. And whatever order, if you want, you can take the order in the previous mantra, you can take the order in this mantra. It actually doesn't make any difference in the final analysis. Whatever you accept, you can take. But Bhashyakara says, understand this in such a manner that the sequential order should be seen in such a way that there is no contradiction. Avirodaha drashtavyaha. So, the point that Bhashyakara wants to make is, when studying the Upanishads, if we come across a contradiction, I would call it a seeming contradiction, we must first analyze what is the relevance of that particular message which are contradictory with regard to overall message of the Upanishad. And if that is non-material, then Keep going. I mean, don't get stuck up there and trying to understand whether that is right or this is right. Because our pursuit is moksha. And in moksha pursuit, what matters is what? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. That is the message we have to focus on. Any other detail given in the Upanishad are all secondary. So Bhashyakara wants to advise us, don't get stuck up in all minor details. Keep moving forward. That is his message. So here in this mantra, Ishvara was presented as Sarvagnyah, Sarvavid, and the clarification of the word tapas, which was used in the previous mantra, was given. And also the restatement of the details of creation was done in this mantra. And here, by using the two words Nama and Rupam, Shruti wants to say that finally, in the final analysis, everything in this world, in this universe, is nothing but names and form only, Nama Rupa only. And this Nama Rupa do not have any existence apart from Brahman. In fact, the Nama Rupas, names and forms, are superimposed upon Brahman. Superimposed means they do not have existence apart from Brahman. What is there is only one Brahman. It is just like the snake being superimposed on a rope. What in reality is there only rope, and because of our ajnanam, because of the darkness of our intellect, we are superimposing a snake on that rope and getting scared about that snake. So if we want to describe the creation, we can say that the entire world which is created is nothing but Nama Rupa. And what is the purpose of this Nama Rupa? This Nama Rupa is for Bhoga, Karma Phala Bhoga. Bhoga means for exhausting this Punya Papa. So the Bhoga aspect was described by Annam, and that the world is nothing but Nama Rupa was described by Nama Rupam Cha Jayate. So these two words, Nama and Rupa, describing the nature of the world. And Annam is describing the purpose of the world. So Nama Rupatmakam Jagat is born of Brahman. And this Nama Rupatmakam Jagat does not have any existence apart from Brahman. Brahman being both, or we can say Ishvara being both the Nimitta Karanam and Upadana Karanam. And who is that Brahman? I am that Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. That is the message of the Upanishad. So in these mantras, the subject matter of Paravidya was presented. Paravidya is that by which Akshara Brahman is known, and from which Akshara Brahman the world is born. That Akshara Brahman or Akshara is Akshara, imperishable, is known through Vidya called Paravidya. That idea is concluded here in this mantra. So since we have actually concluded this mantra, this section, what we will do is, we will read all the mantras from the beginning, all the 9 mantras in stages. Then I will give you a short summary so that when we go to the next section, we have got an overall picture of the first Mundaka, first Khanda. Okay. So we will chant the mantras. I will chant, you can chant after me. Om Brahma Devanam
Om Brahma Devanam
Pratamasambhabhuva
Prathama
Vishwasya Karta
Vishwasya Karta
Bhuvanasya Gopta
Bhuvanasya Gopta
Sa Brahma Vidyam
Brahma Vidyam
Sarva Vidya Pratishtham
Sarva Vidya Pratishta
Atharvaya
Atharvaya
Jeshtaputraya Praha
Jeshtaputraya Praha
Atharvane
Atharvane
Yam Pravadeta
Yam
Pravedeta
Brahmatharva
Brahma
Tam Purovachangire
Tam
Brahma Vidyam
Brahma Vidyam
Sabharadvajaya
Bharadvajaya
Satyavahaya
Satyavahaya
Praha Bharadvajongirase
Bharadvajangirase
Paravaram
Paravaram
Shonako Havai
Shonako Havai
Mahashalongirasam
Pashalongirasam
Vidivat Upasannaha
Upasannaha
Papracha
Papracha
Kasminnu Bhagavo
Kasminnu Bhagavo
Vijnate
Vinyate
Sarvamidam
Sarvamidam
Vijnatam Bhavati iti.
Vijnatam Bhavati iti.
So in these three mantras, the Guru Shishya Parampara was presented starting from Brahmaji, and Brahmaji gave this Upadesha to Atharva. Atharva gave this Upadesha to Angir. Angir gave this Upadesha to Satyavaha. Satyavaha gave this Upadesha to Angiras. And Angiras gave this Upadesha to Shaunaka. So thus the parampara of gurus is presented. Then another idea is also presented, that one approaches the guru with what is called the method prescribed in the Shastra. Vidivat upasannaha papracha. And the pariprashna, appropriate question, was also presented. And what was the pariprashna? Kasminnu bhagavo vijnate sarvamidam vijnatam bhavati. What is that knowing which everything is as well known? So these are the ideas presented in these three mantras. So Guru Parampara Nirupanam for the glorification of Vidya, Shishya approaching the Guru with prescribed procedure, and third is Pariprashna, knowing what is that, knowing which everything is as well known. So these are the three topics in these three mantras. Now we will read the fourth and fifth mantras. Tasmai hovacha
Tasmai hovacha
Dve vidye
Vidye
Veditavye
Veditavye
Iti hasma
Iti hasma
Yad Brahma Vidaha
Yad Brahmavidaha
Vadanti
Vadanti
Parachaiva Paracha
Parachaiva Paracha
Tatra Para
Para
Rigvedo Yajurveda
Rigvedo Yajurvedaha
Yajurveda, Samavedo,
Rigvedo Yajurvedaha,
ऋग्वेदो यजुर्वेदः
Samavedo Tharvavedaha,
सामवेदोऽथर्ववेदः
Siksha Kalpo,
शिक्षाकल्पो
Vyakaranam Niruktam,
व्याकरणं निरुक्तम्
Chando Jyotishamti,
चंदो
छन्दो
ज्योतिषमिति
ज्योतिषमिति
Atapara,
अतपरा
Yaya,
या
Tadaksharam Adhigamyate.
तदक्षरमधिगम्यते.
So in these two mantras, Angiras starts answering the questions of Shaunaka. In fact, the question of Shaunaka. He said, two vidyas are to be acquired, which are known as Paravidya and Aparavidya, about which the knowers of Brahman are talking about. They are speaking about. Even though Paravidya alone is the answer to Shaunaka, but Aparavidya also needs to be understood. Because Aparavidya serves the purpose of Chitta Shuddhi so that one becomes fit for Paravidya. And also, the answer contains another purpose of presenting this Aparavidya. And that is, Aparavidya is sometimes mistaken to be the means for moksha. Aparavidya itself is considered to be the ultimate by some people. And Bhashyakara said that that should be Nirakartavya. Earlier he has said that misconceived notion should be dismissed, negated, made invalid. And therefore also Aparavidya is presented so that you can see the contrast that only Paravidya is the means for moksha. Aparavidya, if you know Aparavidya in its totality, you will understand that it is not means for moksha. One of the important things about moksha we have to understand is, what is moksha? Moksha is liberation from the samsara. Liberation from samsara means one of the important aspects that one is not born again. The jiva is not born again. And if you go through the entire Aparavidya, that liberation cannot be attained, cannot be gained. So that is why Aparavidya is also presented to emphasize this point. Know both of them, Paravidya and Aparavidya, compare both of them. And if your goal is moksha, understand what moksha means, then apply your logic, your knowledge to that understanding of what moksha is, and then come to the conclusion whether Paravidya or Aparavidya is the means for moksha. And this issue, Aparavidya being the means for moksha, will keep resurfacing again and again and again in this Upanishad itself. And at every stage, Bhashyakara will point out, because we will come across certain words which could be quite confusing. I will not go into the details now, but using I would call it a wrong interpretation or an incorrect interpretation of those words, many people, even philosophers, claim that Aparavidya is a means for moksha. All that we will discuss as we go along. So these are the two purposes of presenting Aparavidya. So Paravidya and Aparavidya are to be understood very well. Then in the fifth mantra, the content of Apara Vidya was briefly presented. And that content is in the form of 4 Vedas and 6 Vedangas. And this was presented from Vedic standpoint. But we have discussed that any knowledge other than Paravidya can be classified as Aparavidya. And what is Paravidya? Paravidya is that by which Aksharam, the imperishable, is understood. So anything other than this knowledge of the imperishable, everything else is Aparavidya. And when we analyze the entire content of Aparavidya, everything is perishable. The whole universe is also perishable in the sense that it can go into unmanifest state. And not only that, it is actually perishable at the end of Pralayam. So this is what the fifth mantra said. And now from the sixth mantra, that Akshara Tattvam is described, which is the content of Paravidya. Now we will read 3 mantras, 6 to 9, or rather 4 mantras, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yattat adreshyam,
Yatadreshyam
agrahyam,
agrahyam
agotram,
agotram
avarnam,
avarnam
achakshusrotram,
achakshushrotram
tadapani
tadapadam
nityam vibhum,
nityam vibhum
sarvagatam susukshmam,
sarvagatam susukshmam
tadavyayam,
tadavyayam
yadbhutayonim,
yadbhutayonim
paripashyanti dhirah,
paripashyanti dhiraah
yatornanabihi,
yatornanabihi
नाभिः
yate grinhate,
drujate grinhate
sujate grinhate cha,
drujate
सृजते
grinhate
गृह्णते च
yata prithivyamoshadayah,
yata
ता
prithyam
पृथिव्यामोषधयः
sambhavanti,
सम्भवन्ति
yata satah purushat,
tatah purushat
keshalomani,
लोमानि
tathaksharat,
tataksharat
sambhavatiha nityam.
सम्भवतीह
Some
Vishwam.
Yeah, but somewhere some background noise is coming. It's okay. We will chant. Tapasa chiyate
चीयते
brahma
brahma
tatonnam abhijayate
ओन्मभिजायते
annat pranah
annat pranah
manas satyam
manas
मनस्सत्यम्
lokah
lokah
karmasuchamritam
कर्मसूचामृतम्
yah sarvajnah
yah sarvajnah
sarvavidyasya
सर्वविद्यस्य
ज्ञानमयं तपः
ज्ञानमयं तपः
तस्मात् एतद्
तस्मात् एतत्
ब्रह्म
ब्रह्म
नामरूपमन्नं च
नामरूपमन्नं च
जायते.
जायते
So from the sixth mantra, I think you can all mute yourself. So from the sixth mantra onwards, up to the ninth mantra, the subject matter of Paravidya is presented. Because fifth mantra, it was said Paravidya is that by which Akshara Brahman is understood and attained. And what is that Aksharam? Because the word Aksharam has got so many meanings. One meaning we saw was imperishable. In fact, the word Aksharam has also got a meaning syllable. Every alphabet is a Aksharam, letter of the alphabet. There is also a flower called Akshara. So when you say Aksharam, one will ask, which Aksharam are you talking about? And therefore, from a Vedantic standpoint, it is clarified that Akshara is that which is not an object of perception, nor even the subject of perception. It is the truth of the object and subject. It pervades everything, and it is the cause of everything. Being the cause, it is in the form of everything. And that is why, knowing this Akshara Tattvam, everything is known. This idea was suggested. And for knowing this, one has to become Dhira, a person who has got Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, represented by Viveka, Vairagya, etc. Then the word Bhuta Yoni, which was used in the 6th mantra for Akshara, is elaborated in the 7th mantra by 3 examples. Spider and its web example, this Prithvi, earth and plant example, a living being and hair example. By that it was said that in this manner, Vishwam, the entire universe, comes out of Akshara Brahma. Then the order of creation was described in the 8th mantra, where it was said, Tapasa chiyate Brahma, tata annam abhijayate. So there is tapas in the form of visualization of the creation. And then Avyakta comes to the ready mode, which is called Annam here. And from that Avyakta, which has been activated, this Prana and Manaha, representing Hiranyagarbha, are born. And from that, Satyam, Stula Mahabhutas are born. Then Lokas are born. So Satyam and Loka refer to Stula Prapancha, Virat. So first Ishvara, then Prana and Manaha, Hiranyagarbha, and then Satyam Loka representing Virat. In this order, the creation comes. Once the creation has come, then this Manushya will be there, human beings will be there. And then Varnashrama Vyavastha will be there, Karma will be there. Then Amritam Karma Phala will also be there. Thus the order of creation was described. And in the 9th shloka, 9th mantra, there was conclusion by clarification of some of the words, and also some of the details of creation was given. It was said that Ishvara is Sarvajna and Sarvavid. He knows everything in general, and he also knows everything in detail, and whose tapas is only in the form of omniscience, visualization of everything. And from that Ishvara, this Hiranyagarbha, which is also called Brahmaji, is born, and also Virat, consisting of various names and forms, and food are born. Thus, the creation was described, and by that, this Bhutayoni word used in the 6th mantra was elaborated, and in this manner, the subject matter of Paravidya was presented. So Paravidya, content of Paravidya was briefly presented, which is going to be elaborated in the Dvitiya, in the 2nd Khanda of the 1st Mundaka, where elaboration of first Aparavidya will start from the 10th mantra. So now with that we enter the mantra number 10 of the Upanishad, or mantra number 1 of first Mundaka of second Khanda. So we have completed the first section of the first Mundaka. And I just want you to recall, and I also told you right in the beginning in the introduction, this Upanishad is having 3 Mundakas, means 3 chapters. Each chapter is called a Mundaka, and each Mundaka will have 2 Khandas. So 3 into 2, in all the Upanishad, there's got 6 Khandas, 6 sections, and the total is 65 mantras. Of that, we have completed 9 mantras. So you can say roughly 1/7 portion is completed. And the introduction is always elaborate because that sets the foundation of the entire learning or the entire teaching of the Upanishad. So the second section of the first Mundaka, the first chapter, is going to deal with the elaboration of the subject matter of Aparavidya. And then from second Mundaka, Paravidya will start. So this is how the order of teaching is. And afterwards, Paravidya will continue. Afterwards, from second Mundaka onwards, Aparavidya will not come. So first Khanda, Aparavidya introduction. Second Khanda, first chapter is Aparavidya elaboration. And from the second Mundaka, first chapter onwards, there will be Paravidya elaboration. This is how the whole Upanishad is developed. And as I said in this second section of the first chapter, Upanishad is elaborating Aparavidya by presenting karma and upasana with twofold intention. One is to reveal the guna as well as the dosha of Aparavidya. The guna of Aparavidya is it can produce any material result a person seeks if it is performed properly. That if is a very big if. And the dosha of Aparavidya is it can never give liberation. It can keep a person only in the cycle of samsara. So thus, the first intention is to present the advantages of Aparavidya. And the second purpose is that if Aparavidya is presented objectively, a person can study the result of Aparavidya, gain vairagyam towards that, and therefore the dosha darshanam can be done either by mere intellectual analysis, or if our intellect is not that sharp, then we can go through the experiences, get enough thrashings in life, and after that anubhava, we can get vairagya. Therefore, through one pramanam or the other, we have to see the dosha and develop vairagyam, because dosha darshanam alone is the sadhanam for vairagyam. How to develop vairagyam is one of the very, I would call it, frequently asked questions in satsangas. How to develop vairagyam? This dosha darshanam alone is helpful. When you find that you have a certain particular goal and the path that you are taking, you learn that that path is not going to lead you toward that goal. Understanding that I am on a wrong route is dosha darshana. So in our life, we keep chasing all material things. Right from childhood, as a baby, we want toys, noise-making toys. Will those toys give you moksha? No. In fact, that is the first indication that first obstacle for development of vairagya. Then you grow up, you have so many other material desires. You think that each material desire, if I accomplish, if I gain, if I fulfill that desire, I will be the happiest person in the world. I will become totally happy, totally peaceful. Nothing else will be required. But then what happens? Very soon, you find that that so-called happiness which you gain is lost because you have developed desire for another object, another desire. So that was not a permanent happiness. So you say, oh, I was wrong. I was pursuing that particular goal of acquiring this. That has not given me the happiness. Initially, it gave me happiness, but now it is not giving me happiness. That is dosha darshanam. So like that, you go on, entire field of apara vidya. You go one by one, one by one, one by one. Anubhava. Then understand dosha darshanam. Nothing that is contained in apara vidya can give me moksha which I am seeking. So dosha darshanam is the only means for us to develop vairagya. And this dosha darshanam alone is otherwise called viveka. Viveka means what? Discrimination. Discrimination of what? What is permanent, what is impermanent? What is satyam, what is mithya? What will give permanent happiness, what will give impermanent happiness? That is viveka. And that viveka is what? By doing dosha darshanam only you will develop that viveka. And once you develop that viveka, that becomes a sadhanam for vairagya. So in between dosha darshanam and vairagyam, there is one more step, development of viveka. Therefore, in this section, the Upanishad has entered into karma kandam from a Vedic standpoint of view. Wherever the Upanishad is talking about karma kanda or the vihita karmas, etc., at the background, in the back of my mind, I should have this idea, understanding that what the Upanishad talks about in respect of the karmas, Vedic karmas, is equally applicable to all Laukika karmas also. So with this brief background, let us enter the first mantra of the second section of the first mundaka. Let us chant. Okay, before going into the mantra, Bhashyakara is giving a connection. Sangati Bhashyam is there, a brief Sangati Bhashyam. He presents how apara vidya elaboration is relevant. So we will first read the introductory Bhashyam and then continue with the discussion. Okay. So Purvapara Sambandha Nirupanam. So what is the connection between the Purva and Apara? What is the connection between the previous section and this section? That Bhashyakara is explaining in this introductory Bhashya. Okay. Sangha hai, Veda hai, Apara Vidyokta, Rigvedo Yajurveda hai, Ityadina Mundaka, that Mundaka 115. We can omit that, is in brackets.
Okay, sir.
Yat adreshyam Ityadina नामरूपम् अन्नं च जायते
नामरूपमन्नं
नामरूपमन्नं च
जायते
ग्रन्थेन
इत्यन्तेन
ग्रन्थेन
ग्रन्थेन
लक्षणम्
उक्तलक्षणम्
उक्तलक्षणम्
अक्षरम्
अक्षरम्
त्वया विद्यया
यया विद्यया
या
अधिगम्यते इति
अधिगम्यते
अधिगम्यते
इति
इति
परा विद्या
पराविद्या
सविशेषणोक्ता
सविशेषणोक्ता
अतः परम्
अतः परम्
परम्
अनयोः
अनयोः
विद्ययोः
विद्ययोः
विषयौ
विषयौ
वेक्तव्यौ
विवेक्तव्यौ
संसारमोक्षौ
संसारमोक्षौ
इत्युत्तरः
इत्युत्तरः
ग्रन्थः
ग्रन्थः
आरभ्यते
आरभ्यते
अत्र अपरविद्या विषयः
तत्र अपरविद्याविषयः
कर्त्रादिसाधनक्रियाफलभेदरूपः
कर्त्रादिसाधनक्रियाफलभेदरूपः
वेरी गुड संसारः
संसारः
आदिः अनन्तः
आदिः अनन्तः
दुःखस्वरूपत्वात्
दुःखस्वरूपत्वात्
आतव्यः
आतव्यः
प्रत्येकं शरीरिभिः
प्रत्येकं शरीरिभिः
सामस्त्येन
सामस्येन
नदीस्रोतोवत्
नदीस्रोतोवत्
अव्यवच्छेद रूप संबंधः
अव्यवच्छेदरूपसम्बन्धः
तद उपशमलक्षणः
तदुपशमलक्षणः
मोक्षः
मोक्षः
परविद्याविषयः
परविद्याविषयः
अनाद्यन्तः
अनाद्यन्तः
अजरः
अजरः
अमरः
अमृतः
अभयः
अभयः
शुद्धः
शुद्धः
प्रसन्नः
प्रसन्नः
स्वात्मप्रतिष्ठालक्षणः
आत्मप्रतिष्ठालक्षणः
परमानन्दः अद्वयः इति
इति
पूर्वं
पूर्वं
तावत् अपरविद्यायाः विषयप्रदर्शनार्थं
विषयप्रदर्शनार्थम्
आरम्भः तद्दर्शने हि
तद्दर्शनेः
तन्निः
वेदिके
वेदोपपत्तेः
वेदोपपत्तेः
तथा च
च
वक्ष्यति
वक्ष्यति
परीक्ष्य लोकान् कर्मचितान्
परीक्ष्यलोकान्
इत्यादिना
इत्यादिना
न हि नहि अप्रदर्शिते
अप्रदर्शिते
प्रदर्शिते
परीक्षा उपपद्यते
उपपद्यते
प्रदर्शयन् आह Thank you. Quite a long introduction. I thought it was a short one, but I had probably forgot. Okay. So this introduction, the title Purva Apara Sambandha Nirupana. Pashyakara is connecting the Purvam, the first section, and Apara, the coming section. Sambandha, the connection he is presenting. First of all, he briefly restates what has gone by. what has been presented so far. He says that in the previous kanta, both Paravidya and Aparavidya are mentioned as well as their content and subject matter. Aparavidya's content is the 4 Vedas and Shad Angani, 6 Vedangas, and Paravidya's subject matter is Aksharam Brahma. Thus, in the first khanda, 2 sciences and their contents have been mentioned. So here the first sentence is Sangaha Vedaha Aparavidyokta Rigvedo Yajurvedaha Ityadina. This is what he says. So let us look at the sentence. Aparavidya Ukta. In the first khanda, Aparavidya has been talked about. As what? Sangaha Vedaha. Sangaha means along with its limbs. So the 4 Vedas, along with their limbs or accessories, they were presented as Aparavidya. And how was it presented? Rigvedo Yajurvedaha Ityadina. By the statement Rigvedaha, Yajurvedaha, etc. So by that statement, Aparavidya was presented in the form of 4 Vedas and Vedangas. And we should remember the 6 Vedangas. Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chandaha, Jyotisham. So these 10 sciences have been talked about as Aparavidya. Then having talked about Aparavidya, thereafter, the first section talked about Paravidya, mentioning that the subject of Paravidya is Akshara. So Bhashyakara says, Yattat Adreshyam Ityadina, beginning with this mantra, Yattat Adreshyam, Adina Mantrena. So, starting from the mantra Yattat Adreshyam, that is the 6th mantra, then Nama Rupam Annam Cha Jayate, Iti Antena. Antena means ending with the mantra. Nama Rupam Annam Cha Jayate, Iti Mantrena. Which is that mantra? Last mantra, final mantra, just now saw. So beginning from the 6th mantra up to the 9th mantra, Grantena, through the textual portion. Grantha means part of the text. So through the text which was discussed, Ukta Lakshanam Aksharam. Aksharam was defined. Ukta Lakshanam. So the Aksharam whose nature was defined from the 6th mantra is the subject matter of Paravidya. How beautifully Bhashyakara is, summing up. And then he says, Yaya Vidyaya Adhigamyate. Yaya Vidyaya, through whichever knowledge a person Adhigamyate comprehends the above mentioned, that knowledge is called Paravidya. So the word Adhigamyate has also the meaning of to attain, to comprehend, to attain. Both meanings are there. And we can take either of them or both of them. And if you recall, earlier Bhashyakara had taken the meaning of attain and then explained why in this context, that is in the context of Akshara Brahman, knowing is attaining. So all those we must remember. So in this context, there is no difference in the meaning of the 2 words. So Yaya Vidyaya Aksharam Adhigamyate, Sa Paravidya Bhavati, Iti. Iti is there in the Bhashyam. We can replace it with Sa to provide the subjective complement. So Paravidya was Ukta, talked about. Savisheshana, along with its Visheshana. Paravidya was talked about along with the adjectives or attributes of Akshara Tattvam. Visheshana means that which distinguishes. Savisheshena means along with the distinguishing attributes. Like we say, a small book or a big book. Adjective small or big or Visheshana, they are the distinguishing features of the book. And here, the content of knowledge is the distinguishing factor. So, along with its content, Paravidya was presented. More we will see in the next class. Okay. It's time now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri
Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi
Harihi
Om.
Om.
Dhanyavada everyone.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
Thank
ಗುರುಜಿ.
you. Thank
ಧನ್ಯವಾದः ಮಹೋದಯ.
you.
Hari Om Guruji, thank you.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Thank you,
Hari
Guruji.
Om. Thank you.
Namaskaram, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskaram.
The structure of the
Namaskaram.
structure of the Upanishad, something very similar to Shakespeare's plays.
Yeah. Shakespeare must have read Upanishad.
Exactly. That's what I was coming to.
Yeah, at the end of the day, whether it's Shakespeare or Upanishad, they're all like presented like a drama.
Drama, exactly.
Drama has got, dialogues, conversation.
Correct.
So it is like that only, I mean, that is also Shakespeare plays, we say kavyam, right? I mean, they are also, literature,
Precisely.
there. So you're right. I mean, what only Shakespeare plays, you go, even all Kalidasa's plays, everything, all in the same format only. So the format is set by the Upanishads.
Upanishad, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so from that only everything else has come, rather.
Exactly.
And that is the best way to learn and understand.
Foundation is laid by Upanishad. Rest are all built over it.
Exactly. That is why. Okay.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, Arun Kumarji.
Namaste ji. I just want to know, apart from the text you had shared, is there any book I can buy to follow the slokas?
See, there are lot of books by Swami Paramatananda, books of Swami Dayananda Saraswati, all there. But you will find the same content, but explaining in different words.
No, actually not for the explanation, but just to have the...
Yeah. You can find out. I mean, Puja Swamiji's book itself is there on Mundaka Upanishad. Okay. Then I think there is one more lady who had written a book, I'm forgetting her name, based upon Swami Paramatananda's talks. So that also is available, but you may have to probably do some Google search and find out. If I come across, I will send you the relevant link. Because I don't remember whether I bought some of the books from that lady. It is not available publicly. So I went to her house or publication, wherever it is, and bought some books. I don't remember whether Mundaka was one of them. So if I come across that, I will give you this thing.
And also a request when you're reading, Guruji, to actually today, I think you started at some other place. I was not able to. I just repeated what I heard, but I couldn't exactly where you started. I was not able to. So just give the page number at least reference so that
I can. If you are keeping
from here,
I can give you the page number.
Yes, your own text only I have. I don't have.
Yeah. So if you are keeping a printed copy of the text with you, I'll give you the page number from here. This mantra, this thing we are starting. I'll do that. No problem.
Thank you, Guru.
Hari Om. Yes, Sita Ramanji.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
You mentioned Nama Rupa is for Karma Phala Bhoga. Now, you explained what relevance is exhausting the, Bhoga is exhausting the, what was it exactly? I missed out.
Punya Papa.
Punya Papa.
Okay. Karma Phala means Punya Papa.
Yeah, okay, excellent.
So that's exhausting Punya Phala through experiences transacting with these Nama Rupas only, isn't it?
Yes.
So that is how the whole thing is.
Oh, yeah. You see, today I had a very interesting conversation with my neurologist.
Oh, acha.
So generally he was talking about uh, some treatments for me. Then he said, told him, I said, Upanishad and this is what I'm doing. He referred about Yajnavalkya's arguments with Gargi,
Ah.
and he follows it, and he spends his time in Ramakrishna Ashram in Kolkata and that Kali Mandir.
So you got a good doctor.
So
Vedantic doctor.
yes, and I think the treatment he spoke about 5 minutes, and 15 minutes we discussed about Upanishad.
Very good.
I just said, let me just share it with you.
Very nice. Yeah, of course. See, once you have got an open mind and you read the Upanishads or participate satsanga, you will know that what is the right means for moksha. But that is what ultimately, whether knowingly, unknowingly, whether vocally or silently, people are seeking. Right?
Yes.
Everybody seeks that permanent happiness only, permanent peace only in their life.
Yes.
But knocking at the wrong doors for that. So that is what it is. Anyhow, good. I'm happy to learn that your neurologist is also a Vedanti. Nice, very nice.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, thank you. Any other question? No hands have gone up. So I think we can close the session and continue next week. Okay. Hari Om. Thank you all.
Thank you. Hari Om.